All right, what's going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm gonna make this quick, but I think the information I'm gonna give you is a bit valuable. So do me a favor and grab your notepads if you can, please, and take some notes on this. This is kind of a random rant, but I had a couple people ask me to talk about this, and I thought, you know what? If I'm getting a couple people talking to me, asking me about it, I should probably put something together because there might be other people who, might find this information valuable. But if you're running a virtual business and you're trying to increase the quality of your meetings because you feel like you're having meetings back to back to back to back to back to back, but people either don't know what in the world the meeting was about, they just came out of good faith, or they're not really showing the importance of the meeting, and you're not, and at the end of the day, you're just not getting the results that you want, then these tips might be able to help you out, okay? Um, the virtual world made it very easy for you to conduct business anywhere. However, in the same token, it makes it very easy for you to confuse yourself based on the activity that you see on your calendar. Because, one of the good things and bad things that Zoom allows, for example, is the ability to have a Zoom on your phone. That's a good and a bad. It's good for the person that's already in business. The person that already runs a business and they run a business that's, requires them to move around. It's a beautiful thing. It's bad for your prospects to be able to have Zoom on their phone because you don't know what they're doing while they're on a Zoom. You don't know if they're driving, if they're distracted, if they got kids in the back, if they're doing this, if they're doing that, if they're running errands, if they're shopping. And at the end of the day, you don't have 100% of their attention. So imagine trying to have a very important meeting, for example, an interview for a job, or a meeting with regards to retirement planning, or moving over, some dollars from one location to another, and the person that you're talking to that has to make the decision is grocery shopping, or in the school line ready to pick up their kids, or driving home from work and they're in transit. At the end of the day, they're not going to make a decision then. They're not going to make a decision then. They got on to be polite. They got on not to necessarily be serious about it. They got on, just to be honest with you, just to kind of make you happy. But they're not going to make a decision. And then if you're in business, you want to sell your product. If you're in business, if you're having a meeting, you want the results of the meeting. So if you're having an interview, you want the person to say, okay, yeah, I want this opportunity. Let's take action. Let's move forward with the steps. If you're having a financial consultation, having an F&A, you want the person to say, yeah, I want that insurance product, or I want this retirement product, or I want this credit product. You want that. You don't want to just be like, man, I'm having a meeting back to 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 back, but I'm not getting the results that I want. You start to get burnt out when you do that, right? Or maybe you're inviting people to a corporate overview, a business opportunity meeting, and you're realizing that people that are coming on are real casual about it. They're not taking it serious. They're not on camera, or they're in transit, or you know what I mean? When you follow back up with them, they still have 50 questions because they really weren't paying attention. So what do you do if you're that agent that wants to improve the quality of your meetings? The answer is simple. You have to pre-qualify them before you invite them. You have to pre-qualify them before you invite them. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. For example, the BOM, right? If you're inviting someone to a business opportunity meeting, it's because you want somebody that is in the industry that is doing a heck of a lot better than you to present the opportunity of what it is to work in financial services. Now, let's talk about a couple of those things. Number one, here's the benefit in working and representing an organization like TKO Financial Network. Ready? Number one, it's not an MLM. It's not an MLM, so don't think like an MLMer. It's not an MLM, so don't think like a network marketer. Oh my God, I got to bring every single body, every single person. If they have a heartbeat, I got to bring them in. No, you don't. Remember, there's no promotions that you're going to achieve, no pay increases you're going to achieve simply by having high recruiting numbers. You're not. You're adding more work to your plate by having 10, 15, 20, 30 recruits that you just brought on board. And you're adding more to your calendar to people that, quite frankly, aren't going to be respecting your calendar and aren't going to probably take moves forward. They're not. So remove that mindset out. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't, present your, the opportunity to get an insurance license and work in the insurance industry to people, to everybody, I'm not saying that. I would talk to everybody on it, but I wouldn't just talk to them and just invite them. Right? I wouldn't just do that. I wouldn't be the guy that's like, oh man, look, man, you seem like you got some good sales skills, man. Why don't you show up tomorrow at 7:00? Okay, cool. No, don't do it that way. Qualify them. Talk to everybody and then qualify them, like a filter. Talk to everybody and then filter out the people who really fit the qualifications, right? So what are the things that I talk about? Number one, you want them to know it's a financial services industry. Simple as that. The last thing you want is the speaker to ask, hey, what brought you in? And they tell you, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here because, my buddy John invited me. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. What you want when you're prospecting somebody, take a look at them and be like, okay, can I see that person working in my business with me? Because they're going to be a representation of you. They're going to be a representation of you. So can I see that person working in insurance? Can I see this person either in a polo, casual transacting business, or maybe one day in a suit transacting business? If you don't see that, might not be a good invite. They're going to be talking to people that they're going to be giving them their money. It's the truth. So it might be a hard thing to do, but you got to qualify that. Now that doesn't mean that you can't take somebody that doesn't have the appearance of business and turn them into business. Look, I was a cook. I was a chef by trade. I got 7 tattoos across my body. Like, But somebody saw in my personality the ability to say, hey, this guy can really get professional about it. This guy could. And then therefore, I was brought into the industry. But that's the first thing. You look at them visually, qualify them. Second thing, be upfront with them. Say, hey, listen, man, I'd like to invite you to a corporate overview. We're having interviews. We're having an interview, Tuesday at 8 p.m. And I'd like for you to attend, right? But before you say yes, let me tell you something that's important to me, because I really want you to capture the value. I want to make sure a couple things. Number one, at 8 o'clock, are you going to be able to be stationary and at home in front of a computer? Because if you can't, I'd rather not invite you at that one and maybe just schedule a one-on-one. Can you be stationary in front of a computer? Yes. Okay, perfect. Are you going to have distractions around you? Because I'm going to have you talking directly to, one of the top executives of the company, and I want to make sure that number one, you don't look bad, right? And number two, you really can capture the information. So are you going to have distractions at that time, right? That's the second thing you want to say to them. And then the third, you tell them, listen, this is financial services. We're expanding. We're growing as an agency. Okay, it is going to require licensing, right? There is a license you're going to have to acquire to work in the industry. But the good news is this: a lot of the cost for that license is already taken care of for you. There's zero cost to come into the company. The company's going to actually decide whether or not they want you fit the qualifications to work with them. But if it does fit, they're gonna immediately want you to obtain your insurance license. Now, this is an opportunity to make a multiple six-figure income if that's okay with you. Like, it's okay to do that. Remember, you don't come from the MLM world. In the MLM world, you're, oh my God, recruiting numbers. You might have your production numbers in, so you're ready to get your promotion, but you don't have your recruiting numbers in. So really, let's be honest. If that were the case and you had your production numbers to get your next promotion, but you didn't have your recruiting numbers, let's be real. What you're trying to invite at that point in time is just bodies. You're just trying to get your recruiting numbers up, because that's all you need. It doesn't matter whether or not that person's going to do something or not do something. So get that off your mind. Don't think that way. There's zero promotions in a pure insurance agency. There's zero promotions that will get you to the next level with recruiting being a requirement. There's zero. Everything is about production. Now, you can get promoted on personal production. You can get promoted on your agency production. So make sure that whoever you're inviting to join your agency are people that have the highest capacity, the highest capabilities, the highest qualifications of obtaining their license and adding to that production requirement. Because having someone there in your agency that, number one, didn't get their license, number two, procrastinates to get their license, number three, doesn't produce business, doesn't show up to training, doesn't take it serious, that's dead weight. It's dead weight. That's furniture in your office. It's furniture. So that would be my first tip to you when it comes to inviting to the business opportunity meeting, is really filter it out and make them feel like they're not joining a group event. They're coming at 8 o'clock to meet directly with one of the founders of the company, one of the executives of the company, one of the VPs of the company, and they're going to be talking in an interview type setting to that person, so they can come prepared. They can be on camera on their computer rather than on the phone. They can maybe have a notepad there ready. You'll see some people even dress up business professional. Those are great filters to figure out who's really ready for a change, in my opinion. And if they're not able to make it at that time because they're going to be in transit, they're going to be with their kids, they're going to be doing this, and don't invite them to the BLM, invite them to a one-on-one. Schedule a one-on-one interview with them. Schedule a one-on-one interview with them. Right? Now, if they come on board, right? Again, everything is a filter. Your first thing you want to do with them is a kickoff meeting, an orientation. Right? They got to understand the website. They got to understand, their steps, right? Because they just came on board. Now it's a matter of them knowing. So who are the two types of people you're bringing on board? You're bringing in people that are licensed, and you're bringing in people that are non-licensed. Orientations are very different for those two types of people, but the same standards apply. It's a professional meeting, so make sure you're not on your computer. Make sure you're not on your phone, in your computer, right? Make sure you're stationary, right? I would even prefer orientation meetings. They got to be on camera. They got to be on camera. There's so much communication that happens, by visually looking at their face, by looking at their level of interest, their intensity. Are they leaning forward, paying attention? Are they leaning back? Are they taking notes? Are they preoccupied watching other things? Like, there's so much communication that happens in an orientation. And I'll tell you this for sure: an orientation, a kickoff meeting, to me, tells me a lot about how much you want to lock onto that person. How much do they want it? How much do they genuinely, truly want it? Tells you a lot in that orientation. A non-licensed agent, what you want to make sure you do, get them in pre-licensing and get them scheduled for their state exam. And matter of fact, flip it. Get them scheduled for their state exam first, and then get them in pre-licensing. Why? Because pre-licensing is free. We cover the cost. TKO Financial Network covers that cost. So you really want to know if somebody's serious. And if they're willing to take out their wallet and cough up their debit card, they're being serious. What better way to filter out whether they're serious or not? Don't get them set up for a free pre-licensing program. People will always take something that's free. There's got to be a gatekeeper first. The gatekeeper is this: schedule your state exam. Show me you're serious, schedule your state exam. That's beneficial for a couple of reasons. Number one, it lets you know if they're serious. Number two, it sets a deadline for their studies. Sets a deadline. Now they know they got to finish their studies within a certain time period because their state exam is coming already. And they already paid for it. Otherwise, they lose that money. And it's crazy how $40 or $50, it's cheap to schedule your state exam, $40, $50. It's crazy how that is enough of a push for them to say, hey, I got to finish, man. I got my state test already going. And when you schedule that state exam, try not to make it more than 3 weeks away from when they start. That way they got maximum 3 weeks to study. You schedule that state exam 2 months out, you're going to lose that person. Guys, that study program shouldn't take you longer than 5 to 7 days to accomplish. It's not a difficult program, especially if it's at home online. So for a non-licensed agent, again, schedule state exam, get yourself set up for pre-licensing, get them into our schedule, our team schedule, right? Making sure they know the website, making sure they know the TKOschedule.com website, okay? Making sure they know that password so they can log in and they can see the Zoom IDs. Get their commitment. Hey, can you make it to Monday night training at this time? Can you make it to Saturday morning training at this time? Because their ability to show up to those trainings is going to also show you how committed they are as well. That's all I'm really trying to do with a non-licensed agent. And the last thing I'm trying to do with a non-licensed agent is schedule their financial needs analysis. That's it. That's boom, 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 boom. You got to get their financial needs analysis, and they've got to sit in the client chair and have an actual consultation with you or a certified trainer to learn, what our products are and how these products could even potentially benefit them. That's what I'm trying to do with a non-licensed agent. Schedule your test, pre-licensing. Here's our training schedule, financial needs analysis. Boom. Notice I'm not going over promotions, incentives, carriers. I'm not going over any of that stuff. None of that matters until they get their license. Now, a licensed agent, you know what I like to do before an orientation? I get a commitment on contracting. Literally, you get them enrolled into the system, make sure that they open up that email. Their email that they're going to receive, the second email, not the first. The first one is just from the CRM that welcomes them in. The second one has all the links. That second one has a link for contracting. You know what I would do before you schedule an orientation with them? Get them to do contracting. It takes an hour to do. There's no point in doing an orientation with someone who hasn't done their contracting yet. Get them to do contracting yet. Matter of fact, you know what I would do? I say, listen, congratulations, you came on board. I'd like to have an orientation with you, say sometime tomorrow in the afternoon time, but I need to know, can you get your contracting done before then? Right? There's a link. It's a very self-explanatory link. You just got to follow. You got to upload your 5 major documents, right? Your state license, your driver's license, your direct deposit form, your anti-money laundering, and your errors and omissions. Do you have all of that? Oh, I don't have my errors and omissions. In that email you got is a link to get errors and omissions. You can get it 5 minutes. I don't have my anti-money laundering. In that email you're gonna get there's a link for anti-money laundering. You can get that done in 10 minutes as well too. It's stupid. It's stinking easy. Stinking easy. Oh, I don't have a direct deposit slip. Well, you call your bank and they'll continue a direct deposit slip or avoid a check, right? Easy. Get them to do their contracting first before you do their orientation. That way, if you're doing the orientation or if you're having your upline do the orientation, you know that person's already done contracting. That's a great filter. Something that is going to give you an aha that I had to learn this. I had to learn this with experience, with time. Our first few months, we brought on board close to 200 and some odd people, licensed. That's not even including non-licensed. You know that only 50% of them did contracting. 50% of them did contracting. You know what that teaches me? There's some people with licenses that really don't have a care in the world to use those licenses. There's no urgency in them to use it in any way, shape, or form. So don't think just because someone is licensed that they're going to be a fit for your business, because they could very well just be dead weight. You know what's a good filter? Okay, first filter, can you show up in a professional environment to this meeting? Right? Stationary, on a computer, not on a phone. Taking notes, yes, perfect, check. Second filter, can you get contracting done? Because something that's so simple to do and free to do, like contracting, should be a no-brainer if you're serious. If you're not serious, you're gonna procrastinate. Oh, I haven't done it yet. I'll get it done next week. Oh, I haven't done it yet. I'll get it done next month. Oh, I'm busy right now. Oh, my kids. Oh, my job. I'm going through something bad in my family. Look, life happens. Life happens. But if it's serious to them, they'll get it done. If it's important to them, they'll get it done. They'll get it done. Have them do contracting first before you meet them for orientation. And if by chance you don't get contracting done, you meet them for orientation, make sure that's part of their deadlines and their checklist. Because a licensed agent, you know what I want to go through in an orientation with a licensed agent? You ready? Promotions, how to get promoted. They need to know the numbers. Carriers that we sell, they need to know the carriers. That's it. Those are the 2 things. Everything else is the same as I do for a non-licensed agent. The schedule, Monday night training, Saturday training, here's the website, here's how you find the Zoom ID. Can you make it? Get a commitment from them. Can you make it? Yes. Perfect. Perfect. No problem. And then you know what I want to do? I want to get a commitment date for contracting. I want to get a commitment date for their financial needs analysis. And I want to get a commitment date on when we can start our own one-on-one phone zone. And that phone zone is either going to be contacting a natural market, a top 25 list, or buying a batch of leads and starting to work those leads and calling those leads. But I want those dates before if I'm the one running the orientation and I'm their trainer, before I get off the call, before I get off that orientation, I've got those 3 on my calendar, those 3 dates on my calendar. Contracting commitment date, your financial needs analysis date, your first batch of leads date. We're going to do a phone zone. 1, 2, 3, boom. Because I'm taking them through the steps into action. You see, a new agent's checklist, that checklist of things you want to make sure that they do. It's not your responsibility to tell them what that list is and then their responsibility to knock off that list. It's not. It's your responsibility to know that list, and it's also your responsibility to make sure that they finish that list. You're putting them through that filter. You're not just in orientation, a lot of people make a mistake and they think it's just word vomit. Here's promotions, here's this website, here's what you want to finish. Boom, there it is, finish your checklist, and then you're done. No, it's not about them knowing what they need to accomplish. It's about you knowing what they need to accomplish and putting them through those steps. And what better way to do it than to say, hey, this, and this is what we got to finish next. Let's put it on the calendar. Boom, boom, boom. Check it off the list. This is what we need to finish next. Let's put it on the calendar. Boom, boom, boom. And you're putting them through the system. And if they commit to the dates and you show, hey, I'm willing to be here. Are you going to show up to the field? I'm at the field. I'm at the 50-yard line. Are you going to show up to the 50-yard line? If they're showing up, that's someone you lock onto. If they're canceling on you, rescheduling on you, not really focused on it, then that's somebody that's showing you that they might not necessarily be in your highest priority list. Go focus on somebody else. Quality. versus quantity. Trust me when I tell you, in the world that we're in today, zero cost to enroll somebody, high contract levels, independent contracts, the ability for them to be contracted with another organization before they contract with you. In those types of world, I'd be talking to independent agents left and right now. I'd be talking to the independent agents left and right now because independent agents know how to write business. They know what high contracts are. They know that they don't have to cancel their current contracts to come work with you. What they don't know how to do is how to build an agency. And that's something they would love to do. They don't have the systems that we have in place that allow them in an independent world to build an agency and override that agency. They don't have that. It's a phenomenal market to be in. Phenomenal. Second market right now, second market right now, I would tell you, World Financial Group, Primerica, this is phenomenal markets to be in right now. Why? Low contracts, captive to the companies that they can sell. Okay, they have great systems for recruiting, but there's enrollment fees, right? There's more of a multi-level marketing capacity to that because that is network marketing. You get somebody who's burnt out of that world. You get somebody who's burnt out of that world or burnt out of being broke, busted, and disgusted because they're getting paid at 20, 30, and 40% contracts. When you get somebody in that world and you show them, 90, 100, 110% contracts, independent, daily pay, direct from carriers, you show them that world, and you could still recruit without having to charge them a fee. Then look at this huge. But those people need to somewhat unlearn the network marketing of mass recruiting 100 people that aren't going to do anything, right? They need to unlearn some of that. And your producers, your independent guys need to learn the concept of inviting and recruiting. So it's like two different conversations, but those are great markets to be in. Either market that you're in, you've got to filter them out. And you filter them out by giving them a task. My kids, they do it all the time. You know which ones, when my kids want something, I want to know how badly they want it because I give them a task. If they finish the task, they want it. If they don't finish the task, they didn't really want it that much. As simple as that. You do the same thing for anything, for a one-on-one recruiting interview, for a BOM invite, for an F&A, a client consultation. It's always how committed are you? And sometimes the task is this: can you be on camera on your computer? That's the task. A simple task. If they're giving you crap over that, listen, you might want to move on. You'll save yourself time. You'll save your trainer's time. And you won't be looking at your numbers on your phone, on your calendar and saying, man, I don't get it. I scheduled 40 meetings, but I only kept 5. Man, I don't get it. I invited 30 people to the BOM and, only 7 showed up. And out of the 7, they all said that they wanted to do it. Of course, it was free. They didn't have to do anything. They just had to nod their head and say yes. Give you a little bit of information. You can enroll them into the system. But then they don't show up for their orientation and they're not taking it serious or they phased out. No, filter all those people out from the beginning. I'll finish it off with this. I'd rather, instead of having 10 guests where one person does action, I'd rather 3 guests where 2 people do action. I'd rather that, guys. 10 guests, 1 person takes action, the other 9 have no idea why they were there, versus 3 guests and 2 people take action. You know what that means? You're filtering out and you're working with qualified people. Hopefully this helps, guys. Whenever you're measuring your business and you're measuring the task, ask yourself, how difficult was it for you to accomplish that task? Because as challenging as their life might be for them, I'm sure you had a challenging life as well too. I'm sure you might be you're a single parent, maybe you're not a single parent, maybe I'm sure you had something, working 2 jobs, in between jobs, finances are tight, health reasons. I'm sure you had something at some point that was challenging in your life, and you made the decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get this task done because I know the solution to a lot of my problems could be entrepreneurship, could be finances, could be time freedom, whatever it is, we happen to bring that. So if there's a solution there, why not fight for the solution instead of stay drowning into the problem? Hopefully that helps, guys. Be blessed. Let me see your comments. If you're watching this and you're not even a part of the organization, but you're saying, man, I'd love to talk to Tony. I'd love to talk to somebody in the organization to learn a little bit more. Give us a call. Number's 239-784-1118. Have a good one, guys. Be blessed.